Welcome back. So we've had a little look at the tools that we're going to need for fixing down a wall plate. We've looked at the purpose of the wall plate, and now we're actually going to get on and have a look at sort of cutting, marking and fixing. So, good old Blue Peter fashion, here's one I prepared earlier, but how do we get to this stage? Before we get to that, why do we need to put this joint on the end of our wall plate? Okay. So, this is going to accept another piece of wall plate and form our corner for our hip. A couple of ways of doing this. You could traditionally do it by hand. You could literally just saw down the edge, saw across the shoulder, take that piece of waste out. Modern technology, we're going to start looking at using a chop saw, start thinking about a little bit of time management there as well. So just want to talk a little bit about the chop saw first. This trench that we're putting in there, we've got a wheel that is on the side. That'll adjust the depth that that blade will go down. Okay, so you want that to take out half this thickness of timber. One important check while you're setting that saw. What are you going to make sure, Pete, regarding the plug?
It's nowhere near the blade.
Correct. You also want to make sure that it's unplugged as well. Okay, so any setting up you're doing with that saw, make sure it's not plugged in. What I've also put is because you've got the circular action of that blade, as you're going through the timber, it's going to cut at a curve just because of the shape of the blade. So all I've done is I've screwed through the back some solid pieces of timber which will just bring that wall plate out. So when I cut it, that cutting action is going to cut a nice square cut on that corner. Okay, so that is just a sort of a quicker way of doing it rather than cutting it by hand. And if you're starting to think about your core behaviours there, so time management, we've got one of these on each corner. So you need to start thinking about doing all your marking out at once, then all your cutting at once, then all your fixing at once. Okay, that's linking to that key core behaviour. Once again, if you've got extraction with your chop saw, fantastic, keep the dust down, and don't forget your PPE as well. So, like I said, once we've got that cut, that will slot in there quite nicely. And we're looking to our final sort of point there. What 3 checks are we going to make regarding this wall plate before we fix it? Pete, do you want to give me one?
We're going to check it's square.
Spot on, okay? We want to make sure that these wall plates are square with one another. To do that, there's a couple of options. You can get a large roofing square in there to check that corner's at 90 degrees. But also, if you measure from corner to corner, that should be exactly the same both sides. And that is one of the checks. A second check, you want to make sure it's level, okay? Not just along its length, okay? Along the width of the roof as well. You want to make sure it's level all the way around, okay? And the final check is you want to make sure it's parallel as well, okay? So that when you come to fit your column rafters in, they should all be able to be cut the same. So just please remember those 3 key points when you come to fix your wall plate.